This is episode 2 of Python game development and software development. It will be mainly about if statements, while loops, and classes. So it's going to be a bit of a longer video. Last one got only positive feedback, so I'm going to make another. And here we go. So I remember last time I used age as a variable, so we're going to use age equals 10. Now, an if statement is like if this thing is true, or if all this goes this way, then you can do this part of the script. So a way of showing that is if age equals, if you want to do that in an if statement, you're going to have to do double equals, because instead, if you did, say, L equals, let me just comment this out. A way to comment is using hashtag at the beginning, and then the script will not read this when you do it. So instead of doing a single equal, if you did L equals age, and then you printed L, then of course it's going to print 10. So if you put here, you're going to want to put equals equals to show that if age, the value of this equals 11, print, let's just say 11. Now of course it's not going to print 11 because they're not 11. But say I add to the age, not 11, if I add to the age 1, then it's going to print 11 because it made it to 11. Now what we could do is we could say greater than that. It's not greater than 11, so it's not going to print 11. Greater than equals then. It's not going to print. This is the way that you do greater than, equal than. It's going to print that because it is equal to it. Say I add 2 to it, it's going to print 11 even though it's 12 because I have it print 11 if it's greater than. Right now it's 12. Now say, what if I subtract 2? It's not going to do anything. Another way you can do something to an if statement, so say it says age equals 11, is you can add stuff to it. So if age is greater than 10, if age is greater than 10, and 1 equals 2, which it does not, 1 does not equal 2, print, yes, just as like a test thing. Now of course it's not going to print test because this part will never come true. 1 will never equal 2 because a variable cannot start with a number. A variable can't be 1 or a number. That's the issue with it. So instead what I can put is, and the age is less than, and age is less than 13, then it's going to print yes at the bottom. Now, if I put something, if I change the age to 12, it's still going to print because it's technically still less than 13 and greater than 10. Now if I go to 13, it won't. Unless I put an equal sign right here, which says less than equals to, then it will do it. So that's an if statement. You can also have an if statement within an if statement. So if 1 equals 1, which it always will, if 1 equals 1, which it always will, if 1 equals 1, which it always will, kind of like that, then you could print test. Now since 1 equals 1, then it can ask if 1 equals 1. Then it can ask if 1 equals 1. Then it can print this. Now you can change it up. You can ask if 1 equals 2 right here. That means it does go to this line right here. And I can prove that by doing print L, just for test. It can show that it did make it to this line, but once it got here, it no longer executed that because 1 does not equal 2. Now there's something else that you can do, which is a while loop. Now, a while loop just constantly runs down in the code over and over and over until the thing that it says is supposed to happen doesn't happen. So while here age equals 10. So while age is equal to 10, it's gonna print, let's just say test. So when I run this, it should just be printing tests over and over and over each frame. There we go. So I'm gonna stop the code. Oh, wait, I'm not sure how I'm supposed to do that. So this is just gonna go over and over. Oh, I moved it out of my screen. And over. Until I eventually stop it. But yeah, so now if I do, if age equals 11 over here, and I run it, and it's not going to do that anymore. It stopped spamming all that, and it stopped. But what I can do is I could say, while it does this, every time that age is equal to 11, so we're going to change it to 11, print test, and then what we're going to do is we're going to add one to the age. So now, you no longer, it only prints test 1 because only for one time that it goes down the code is age equal to 11, because during this it adds it. I could also do subtract 1, or I could do plus equals 0, and now if I do that, of course it's going to do it over and over again until I change it. While loops, if you want to have a while loop that always goes on and on over, you can just go while true, because true is always true, I guess. Or you could do while 1, I believe. Now, there's something else that is really useful, especially for organizing scripts. Such, it's called a class. So if I do class, it notices that that is a thing that Python does, and I can name it employee. Now, in the employee, we need to initialize some things. So if you want to do that, you always have to put def for define, and then put underscore underscore in it for initialize, underscore underscore, and like that. That's how you make an initialize part of your class. Now in it, you're gonna have to put self in it. It is a weird thing that you have to do. Self, comma. Now, things that I want to be able to access for my employees is their first for their name, their last, their email, and their pay. So the way that we're going to have to do that is we're going to have to put self.first equals first. Now this means every time that we put something dot first that is inside the class, it's going to know, oh, that means just first. So then we could just type something dot first, and then first will do a certain thing. So we're going to have to do that over and over for these. For last, self.email equals email, and self.pay equals pay. So once you're done with that, it's not going to do anything because we haven't done anything with the script yet. So down here we can say we can have an employee. So we're going to name it emp1 for employee 1, and he's going to equal employee. Now for these things we're going to have to define all this stuff. So we don't have to define self since it's obviously already self. So as first will be, we'll just go with my name, Jaden, and then as last will be a made up name like test, I guess. And once we do that, we also need his email. And for self.email, what we can do instead of doing that is we could do first plus last plus an @ symbol company.com. So their email will be first plus last plus company.com. Now the reason I didn't put equal sign is because I don't want to overwrite anything. I'm just saying that this is equal to all this stuff added together. Comment this out for later. I'll show you guys how to do that different. Okay, and their pay will just be 100, say, per week. I don't know what unit it is. That probably might be. I'm not sure if that's a good pay or not. I don't know. So now when we do that, run the script. Now let's see what we have. We are missing something. Pay. Let's see. Oh, let's get rid of this real quick. So let's see what the issue was. emp1 employee. Missing one required positional argument. Pay. So we have first, last, and now we have pay. Let's try to run it, see if we get the same error. Okay, the reason that error came up is because when I ran the code, I still had email right here. So I thought 100 was the email because I commented that out. So now, when I want to access a employee1 dot first, I want to know what their first name is. Oh, it's Jaden. So say you want to know what the last name is. It's test. And what if there's pay? Oh, what's their pay? It's 100. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'm going to test this. I'll be right back just so I can make sure that I'm doing all this right. Okay, I just double checked one of my other scripts to make sure that I was doing this right. So we're going to uncomment this out and we're going to put it at the very end here just for organization. And then, oop, it actually already indented it. So when I want to see their email now, we don't have to identify this because email is just new things, not an entire, it's new, but it's adding already done things, not an entire new thing. So we're going to run it. Their email is jadentest@company.com. Now, if that's going to be everyone's email, say you want to add something else to say everyone's email has a dot between their first and last, and you can always just put this and a dot, and then plus their last, and then I'll of course put jaden.test@company.com. And then say you want to add something to their pay. That will be for a next episode, which will be about pickling data, which will save it to your computer. And because right now, if I run employee.pay plus equals 1. Now, if I do that, then of course, then I have to print that, of course. That's going to be 101. But say I get rid of this, and I expect that it's going to stay the same. It's not going to stay the same. Now, a way that we could fix that is by pickling data. And pickling data, basically, you make a new file in a certain folder where you have this script, and then you can save data that when you open it, it will be encrypted, but the computer understands it completely. So it'll look really weird when it's, if you try to open it from the file that your game, not your game, or your software/game is in. And you have to make sure that it should put it to the exact directory that your game is in. But if you do move the directory, then you're going to have to put your software or program with the files because otherwise it won't read it and it'll be really confused. So that is 4. There's 4 instances. That is while loops, and that is a class. Those are very important because classes, you can say game and you can have coordinates, or you can have a bank and you can have arrays, you can have like withdraw and extract. It's all just for fun things. And yeah, that's episode 2. I hope you enjoyed. Next episode will be pickling data, like I said. See ya.